Hi everyone, in this video I want to show you how you can create this Beauty3000 style face reflection effect that uses two colors that just circulating beautifully and smoothly around the face, reflections of light, and we're going to create this one in this tutorial. So make sure you have SparkAR Studio on your computer and you can follow my steps or just watch it and try to understand how to do it and then do it later on yourself. So to do this we have to do several steps, and the first step we need to do is first we need to add a face mesh. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to click add object, type face and add a face mesh. This adds a face tracker and a face mesh. The face mesh will be the base 3D element on top of which we're going to add the effect. So this action area will reflect the light and gives us this unique, beautiful effect. Right now it's just this one, so this material, and we need to change this. Actually there's no material, this is the default view. We need to add a material to it. So what we're going to do is tap the material, this plus button, make sure you have face mesh selected, and we're going to add material. Nice. Now what we need to do is change the material shader type, because we want to create something that reflects light and look very realistic. So to do this we need to edit the material. We can either tap one time here with the left mouse button or double click here. Whatever you do, you're gonna see the material properties here. We can just rename this material matte reflections, whatever you want, it'll be fine. So in shader type we're going to tap here and choose physically base, which will help us create an effect, a lighting effect that when we use lighting you're going to produce an effect that looks very realistic, and that's what we want to achieve. What we need to do now is change the properties of the material. So as you can see, you have surface parameters, and if you can just play with it, you can see how it actually affects the material on the face mesh. Oh, one thing we need to do first, I forgot for a second, we need to add environment, because if something is reflected we need to add an environment that will be reflected, look like it's reflected on the face. To do this we need to click add asset and add an environment texture. Now if we have different selections which we can use, you can use download HDR files online, but right now we're going to use those who are built in into SparkAR Studio. So let's choose the gray PR, this one. Now we need to import it, click the import free to import it into the project, and click done and close it. So we have this texture available for us. This is what will actually be reflected. Now we go back to the material, and then we're going to apply this texture to the environment texture here. We're going to tap this to activate it. You can activate it, deactivate it. Tap this checkbox and then click texture and select the 7 gray PR texture from the list. Alright, now when we change the surface parameters you can see it actually how it works. So let's change, make the as material appear more metallic. So I just drag it, and if it's 100% metallic it looks very metallic. Look how realistic it is. This is because you use the physically based shader type. Look how beautiful it actually reflects the light and show you the texture like it's reflected on the scene. It's actually an HDR file, and I tried different ones. Each one produced different type of result. Let me try another one. That way, add another one so you can see the difference. Environment texture. Let's choose sunny Volder Park. Let's import it and let's try it out instead of this one. So we're going to go to texture, we're going to change it, and you can see it produces a different reflection and different color. I'm going to use the first one. Now we need to set the settings here. So in order to create something subtle, more subtle, we need to play with those parameters. So we can also adjust the roughness, and this actually affects how the lighting is diffused from the mask. And we can also reduce the opacity, the transparency. Can reduce this a bit. Now, as you can see right now, let's stay with this, but we can change it a bit later. You can see this has rough edges. You see, because it actually the geometry of the 3D mesh. We want to be to appear more seamlessly integrated into the face, and to do this, we need to soften the edges. So just gradually start from opaque to transparent and appear like they are part of the face. We're going to do this right now. Alright, so what we need here is something that called file code. It's an image called Face Mesh Mask, and it comes with Facebook Face Assets. I'm going to link to this file where you can download this file, the complete asset package, download it, and you also there you're going to have this image. So just check the description of this video and just download it to your computer. Just make sure it stays there because you're going to use it probably for several masks, not just this one. So as you can see, it's an image which is white. It's a white circle with a gradual transparency. So it starts with opaque white and then gradually goes to transparent. So what we're going to do is go to the material, matte reflections, and then use it as a base texture. This means right now that instead of having this mesh with very clear cutouts, we're only going to see the effects of the material applied to our texture. So we're going to select texture and choose the face mesh mask. As then you can see, the part which is white is visible, and the part which is transparent, well, it's transparent. And as it gradually goes from clearly visible, opaque, to transparent. So this is a more seamless look, and looks actually part of the face right now, not like a plastic or metallic mask that you put on the face itself. So it integrates very seamlessly into the face. Alright, again, you can play out with the different parameters. We're going to stay with this one, a bit reflective and shiny. Nice. So we have this one, but what we want to do, we want to make this material reflect the light, different lights. We're going to create in this particular example, we're going to create two light sources which will be rotated and will be seen, the light will be seen as reflected on this mask. So to do this, we need to do two things. First of all, we're going to add two directional lights. So we're going to click Add Object, type Direct, and then double tap Directional Light. And what you do is going to duplicate it, right click, duplicate to have two of them. So again, you can do it by even add object, type direct, and choose direct light. Adjust the description, directional light. A decent light that can be placed anywhere in the scene and shines on each object from the same direction, usually to simulate sunlight. Alright, so we add this, as you can see in the scene, we already added. So there are two of them. They're positioned in the same place, that's why you see only one. We're going to move them from one side. We're going to again choose move, tap the arrow. So we're just going to separate them. What matters with direct lights is the direction of the light. Right now it points to a certain direction. So if I change the direction, I'm going to change how the light is reflected. I'm going to demonstrate it to you so we can see how it works. So right now I'm going to choose a color. I want two colors. Let's say for the first one, we tap the direction light and choose the color of the light source. Now it's white. Let's make it maybe blue. And then the second one, we're going to make it, let's say, green. We're going to change it later. Alright, so now we have the light. You see light, directional light 1 and directional light 2. Now it doesn't appear that they're actually affecting the surface, because what we need to do is to direct them to the surface. So if you go to select directional light 1 and you choose the rotate button here, and we can rotate by using any one of those arcs. I'm going to rotate it so you can actually see that the lighting is projected on the face. It just depends on the direction. You can see. Same goes to the other one. If I change it, you see green appears. Let's get closer. You see green appears in the face, on the face. Here you can see it clearly. Now if I move it, rotate it, you can see that it's appear on the face as well. So actually we want this gradual movement animation of the light appear on the face. Right now I'm doing it manually because I'm rotating the light, but I want it to be done automatically, right? So it continuously do this effect, the lighting effect on the face. So to do this, we need to create animation, and we're going to do this in the patch editor. So we're going to go to the patch editor, clicking view, show hide patch editor, and now the rest of the work will be done here. Let's tap, extend it. All right. So what we're going to actually change for those two light sources is the rotation, right? You see here I'm actually rotating, and it actually affects the light source, how the light is reflected on the face. So what I'm going to do is going to change. You see on the right side, the rotational values are changing. You see? Look at the sidebar. So this is actually what we are going to change. The rotation. Under transformation, the rotation. The position doesn't matter for us, only the rotation because of the directional light. So what are we going to do? By the way, we can use two lights, even more. Yeah, I'm just using two lights in this demonstration. So what we're going to do, we need to control the rotation in the patch editor. And to do this, we need to bring out the rotation transformation as a box inside the patch editor. So to do this, we need to click the arrow near the rotation. You see, put the mouse on it, it's yellow, tap it, and this is for the directional light 1. You can see directional light 1 3D rotation is now available for us, and it accepts an input. Inputs are positioned on the left side, outputs on the right side. Right now there's no output, only an input. And we're going to do the same thing for the second direction. We're going to tap the directional to light, go to rotation, and tap the rotation transformation. So we can change it, add values that will change it dynamically inside the patch editor. Good. Now what we need to do is to rotate those automatically. For this, we're going to use transformation. So what we're going to do is use a right click and bring up on the patch editor canvas and bring up this pop-up window, and we're going to type transition. I said transformation. Transition. You're going to click transition. And transition is convert the progress value to a value between a new range defined by the start and end values. And that's what we need, because you need a start and end value for the rotation. So we're going to bring it in. As you can see, this has a progress. Now it's actually, we can decide on values here. I'm just going to explain to you what this is. But something will need to affect the progression, and the progression will actually tell the transition between the exact value that it has to output from start to end based on the progress. Now, because we want the rotation to continue looping, rotate continuously, we need something that actually does the looping thing. So what we're going to do is right click, type loop, and you're going to have loop animation. Animate an element in your scene repeatedly, and that's what we need. I'm going to double click it, bring it, the loop animation. Now the loop animation has an output node called progress, and this actually will output a progress numbers gradually depend on the duration that we put here. Now we need to connect the progress to the progress of the transition input here, and as you can see, it changes number from 0 to 1. 1 means 1 second. So this thing loops from 0 to 1 and back 0 to 1, and it repeats itself. You can also decide to increase this value to make it like for the rotation to last 5 seconds. You can do this as well. Nice. So there are another adjustment I need to do, but I'm going to explain to it a bit later. So right now, let's take a look at the transition. Now what you see here, we can decide which type of transition is it. We have different options, but because we are going to change the value of the X and Y axis, we can either use vector 2 or vector 3. We're going to use vector 3 for the reason because the directional light expect those 3 values. So we're going to still continue using vector 3. Now this means vector 3 means that there are 3 values for X, Y, and Z. X, Y, and Z. So what we want to do is change the values of the directional light 1 and 2, so it rotates around the X and Y axis. Now rotates mean rotate in an angle, and we want to rotate it in an angle from 0 to 360. So it does a full rotation, and we want it to the X and Y axis. So let's look at the transition. We want the transition to take us from 0 to which one, and the end will be 360. Right? Same for the Y axis. We want it to rotate from 0 to 360. And the Z will be, I'm going to put it to 0 so it won't change. So I just want the rotation to be around the X and Y axis. Now what happens with the progression is this value during 5 seconds, it will continuously increase the number that output from the value from 0 to 360 for X and Y, while 0 stays the same. So it's going to change this value, but because this value now will be connected to the 3D rotation of the directional light, these numbers, two numbers, are going to change from a value from 0 to 360 continuously in a duration of 5 seconds. We're going to do this right now. We're going to connect this one to the light. Now look here. Look what happens here. You can see this one rotates. This light rotates on X and Y axis. Let's put it faster so you can rotate faster, 3 seconds. Now also take a look at what happens on the face. Before that I moved it manually, now it happens automatically. You see the lighting effect? Reflected on the face mesh. Nice. What we want to do is also do this for the second one. But for the second one, I can use the same thing, but I want them to move independently to create a more unique animation. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to duplicate both the loop animation and transition and type different values, and those will be connected to the second light. Alright, so what I need to do now is to copy those two. To copy those two, duplicate those two, I can do it like this, select both, left my mouse button, hold and drag. Or can you just tap this one, control, left mouse button to choose both of them. And now I do control C, control V, and I duplicate both of them. After I duplicate, I drag them down. If just one selected and one is selected, and you want to drag them both, again you select both of them and you can drag them down. And then what I'm going to do, I add this duration, change this duration from 2, and this one will be moved in the opposite direction, minus 360, and this also minus 360. It's still a full rotation. And I'm going to connect this value to the second light. Now take a look here. Oh, actually, I did a mistake before. I duplicated the third light. I'm just going to delete it. Sorry. Now we can see the first light, directional light, the second one, they rotated based on the duration. This one is faster because it's a duration of 2 seconds. For example, if I put for this one, I'm going to put 1. Look, take a look here. It's going to move much faster. 1. See, much faster. 3. All right. Now, of course, take a closer look at the lighting effect on the face. Beautiful, huh? Now, if you want to change the colors, because you don't like the green, for example, what you need to do is go for the second one. You go here to color, tap the color, you have a color picker, and then you can decide which color you want it to be. For example, if you want it to be this one can be gold. A bit bluish. Now it's up to you to decide which color. Let's choose this one. All right. Nice. So as you can see, we have different two directional lights affecting the face mesh. The light is reflected because the lights are animated, rotated. You get this effect because it's actually the light hits the surface from different angles. All right, looks cool. Now, just you can always go back to the material here, material reflections, tap this here, and we can play, for example, with the roughness and see how it affects. Sometimes you just want to refine it, so as you can see, I can make it like this. You see that the prominency of the effect depends also on the roughness. If I do it like this, you barely can see it. Now it's much more visible. You can change the metallic, reduce it. Again, if you want to get a more subtle effect, you can do this as well. You can also change the opacity. Let's just increase it for a second. And I'm going to reduce this. Something like that. Nice. So this is how we can achieve this effect in just a few simple steps, and you can get this effect. If you want to add another lighting, I'm just going to repeat it so we can see. You click Add Object, Directional Light, add another one, Directional Light 3. We're going to affect the rotation, so when you click the rotation in the properties of the Directional Light 3, click it. And we can also create a, we're going to change the lighting color, so we go to the properties. Instead of white, we're going to use, let's say, something bluish. You can also connect it directly to a previous transition. I'm going to show it to you right now. Let's change it so it's more visible. Let's change the green one. Now it's a bit overlapping with the other one. That's why we need to make changes, because if they're overlapping, because if I choose the same values, the rotation of the lighting will be for two colors, different colors, but they're a bit overlapping. So that's why I need to do some changes. So again, that's why I created two versions. So let's do this right now. Click, choose this one, Control C, Control V, duplicate it, choose a different, let's say, let's put it very fast, this one, 1 second duration, and then connect this to the third light. Now we can see it. See, now they are not overlapping. Let's choose this 2. And now we can see all the 3 colors, because we have different values, different durations, and here you also have different direction. They are not overlapping, and you can see all the 3 colors circulating on the face nicely. Beautiful effect. And of course we can play with the colors and the properties of the material to get exactly the type of reflection that you want to use in your effect that complement your particular effect. So this is it for this video. I'm going to keep it short. In future videos I'm going to use this one as a base for something more advanced, but this is for this video. If you have any questions regarding this one, please let me know. Post it in the description of this video, and I'll do my best to answer you as fast as I can. So don't forget to subscribe to AR Critic YouTube channel and tap the bell button to get notified when I release new tutorials. I hope you enjoyed this one. I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.